Brad's famous for his part in developing what is known as stride piano. And stride piano is something that came out of the ragtime era. I'd like to have our resident expert on stride piano tell you what that is and perhaps demonstrate some of the techniques that make it up. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Absolutely.
Thank you. At the turn of the 20th century, the popular music was ragtime, and what really helped ragtime flourish was around that time. I should say before that time, pianos were hard to come by. If you wanted a piano, you basically had to order one from Europe and have it shipped over, and you had to have a big enough house or venue to put a giant thing like this in. So around the latter part of the 19th century, some American piano manufacturers started popping up, and Baldwin is probably the most famous, and they started making pianos in America. Now all of a sudden you could buy a piano for much less because you didn't have to have it shipped from Europe. And at the same time, piano manufacturers started making what is called an upright piano, which I'm sure everybody knows what that is. It's a piano like this, kind of turned on its side, and the strings go up and down instead of horizontal. And so you could get one of those, and you could have a full keyboard and put it in an apartment building or a small home or something like that. So all of a sudden now, people were able to have pianos, and pianos flourished, and everybody got pianos. So this is really before the time that the Edison recordings and the phonographs and things became popular. So piano was really the medium for which people got their musical entertainment in their homes. And so a kind of music came out called ragtime. Now ragtime combined a left hand that emulated two instruments, the bass and a banjo or a guitar. And the right hand emulated the melody instruments of the band, which might have been the trumpets or the clarinet, that kind of thing. So ragtime was basically like a whole orchestra that you could play by yourself on a single piano. So, for example, a popular tune at the time was My Old Kentucky Home. So in ragtime, it might have sounded like this. So there, you heard me playing. That's basically what a bass or a tuba might play, along with what a guitar might strum or a banjo. And over here I'm playing. And so you've got the whole tune, you got the whole band, you can sing, you can dance, and all that stuff.
I should just go home.
No. You can't do it as well as an actual banjo player, but it's a close approximation, close enough for your house. And the other thing that made ragtime great was a syncopated melody. What it did was it shifted the melody a little bit, and it gave it just a little bit of a bounce and a little bit of an oomph. Like normally Old Kentucky Home might be. Ragtime, it might sound like. So you see, it's got a lilt and a bounce, and it kind of makes you want to dance, and So ragtime became very popular. Now, as jazz became popular in the late teens and early 20s, as jazz started to flourish and people like Louis Armstrong started to create a new sound in music, kind of the choppiness of ragtime went away, and it slowly started transitioning to a more a different beat that we call swing. And instead of the big heavy left hand, piano players started playing a lighter left hand that instead of sounding like an orchestra, sounded more like a small group, like maybe a string bass and a guitar. So that's where stride came from. It came from the transition from ragtime, which was a structured kind of music, to jazz, which had less of a structure, that allowed for improvisation, had a lighter sound, moved a little quicker, and it emphasized the soloist. It emphasized the trumpet player or the clarinet player, and it gave them a medium to say, hey, let's see what you can do. How high can you play? How fast can you play? Can you play? What kind of musical ideas can you come up with that the guy before you didn't? So stride piano was basically the solo piano version of the hot jazz at the time. And so if I was going to play Kentucky Home in a stride piano style, it might sound like this. So it's even more bouncy and more swingy, and you can see I didn't stick to the melody there. I played whatever I wanted. So that's in a nutshell, that's the difference between stride and ragtime.
Thank you, Chris. I'd like to ask you to play one of FATS's signature stride tunes. This is one that he had been noodling around at the cutting sessions, kind of developing it in his head. And it was recorded as early as 1929, but it was recorded many times during his career. And that's, of course, Handful of Keys. Okay?
Handful of Keys, okay. A lot of people think this was written after he bought his first car, but it's not that kind of keys.
Yeah.